welcome to the Two Old Guys, episode 3. I'm John Foster, one of the old guys.
I'm Gordy Caverly, the other old guy.
Older guy.
Much older. And getting older every day.
Right. So, what do we want to talk about today?
There is a plethora of things to talk about.
All right. We should wait, before you go, we should probably let everybody know that it might not look like it, but there's 6 feet between us. It's the angle of the camera that's deceptive.
Okay. Socially distancing is defined differently by everybody.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, in the last year, since COVID has come on, I'm 74, been quite healthy, traveled quite a few different places, have taken the necessary precautions to remain healthy, and I encourage everybody to do whatever you feel personally comfortable with doing, only to the extent that you need to do it and feel good about it. Because this may be a longer term thing, and you may disagree or agree with everything that's been said, done, written, and published about this, but we could talk about that for the next 10 years and probably will.
Probably. It'll be interesting to see how history
records this.
Exactly. Now, after what you said, I have to let everybody know I followed every CDC and WHO guideline. I was the perfect little boy, and I listened to the governor, and I did everything I was supposed to do, unlike the other old guy.
Excuse me.
All right. Maybe I lied a little bit.
I've never seen anybody as old as you that can stretch a thin lie into a really big, black, thick one. Okay?
Great.
Now, as far as following the CDC guidelines, I followed every one that I thought was really true and factual.
You followed the science.
I followed the science. It didn't necessarily belong to the CDC, but right. I did follow the science.
You follow the science.
Yes.
Great. It's actually, since our last podcast, episode 2, that was like right around the beginning of this whole pandemic thing.
That's correct. They were just talking about bringing masks out and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And goodness, that's been a long time ago.
A long time. We've been through a lot. Not only you and I, but the state of Michigan, society in general has come a long ways. We've had a presidential election. We've seen our rights to privacy and censorship just go right out the window. Was I supposed to talk about politics? Probably not. But anyway, it's true.
You are, but we can't right now. But I tell you what, the interesting thing is that we have not been able to enjoy a lot of personal freedoms that came about before this so-called pandemic.
Right. Yeah, we lost our norm. We're trying to get back to our norm.
Or, depending on what political party you're from, the norm has been redefined.
That's true.
Possibly.
Right. Or is being redefined.
And it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, depending what camp you're in.
Right.
So, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm in the camp that says things are not going smoothly.
Depending on how well you know me, I've tilted stronger one way than the other.
True.
Now, I think probably, since it's been such a long time since we've been on here, I would think that from our Toddcast 1 and 2, and it was so successful, that our audience is probably having serious withdrawals.
I would think.
Yes.
I know I was, having not been able to do one.
Yeah, being able to participate.
Certainly our listeners
and comment.
Viewers have had the same withdrawals.
Now, just so you guys know, we've got our first interview lined up, probably at the next Toddcast. We'll be interviewing a very intelligent very successful professional engineer, and he is a logical thinker, and he has a lot of comments, and he usually doesn't shoot from the hip.
No, he puts a lot of thought into just about everything he says.
Yeah.
Which is good.
And,
which is good.
And he can typically back it up with facts and figures.
Right.
Which makes me hate him a little bit because he's tended to pull me away from my party.
Yeah, right. He tends to be right a lot.
Yeah, he's probably more right than he is wrong. But the guy is very sharp, very sharp young man, and we are planning on having several people along the way. Hopefully, we can get back into a regular Toddcast type thing, and we are on YouTube now. And we do have a website, and you guys are going to be able to visit, comment, talk about the topics that you'd like to see us bring to the table. And depending on who you are and what your agenda is, you might be able to sit across the table from us and even Toddcast with us or call in. And
exactly. Yeah,
and
we're capable of handling phone calls.
Video conferencings, Zooms.
Right.
We can do a lot of different things, and I think it's going to be interesting because we want to pander to the people out there that maybe don't have a platform for a voice.
Sure, I'll go along with that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yep.
So we're kind of excited about being back on the air, and we've all survived it. I have had some tragedy from the COVID pandemic. I've had a ex-employee pass away. That was a very beautiful, nice, healthy young lady, and for some reason it just took her. And my next door neighbor passed away.
Right.
But on the other side, I've had several people that I know that are in their 70s get COVID, and with little and zero intervention from the hospitals or doctors, they beat it on their own.
Yep.
And the percent of survival rate is, depending on what report you look at, well above 95 to 98, 99%. That's if you're above 70. If you're below 70, it's even better yet. So this is one of these areas, I mean, it doesn't matter which side you're on. Everybody comes to the table with their own ammunition.
True.
So, that leads me to a topic.
Okay, I'm ready.
Why can't the two parties, when they sit down at a table and negotiate a position, I would think it would behoove both sides if they would immediately set a standard for how are they going to create, build, modify, and deliver the facts about a situation or a topic or a product or stuff like that. Something that both sides can say, well, this report says this, and we both said that. This is the report we're going to count on.
Right.
This is what we're going to judge our decisions on. This is what we're going to make the rest of the world adhere to, or our country, or our constituents.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
wouldn't that eliminate a lot of problems?
you would think,
Yeah, you'd think so.
but I have trouble understanding how two groups can be so polar opposite on just about everything. It can't be that bad. I mean, their opinions have to be a lot closer than it's made out to be, or that they make it out to be. I almost get to the point sometimes where I think the real difference is I don't want to lose. This isn't a win-win. This is a win-lose, and I don't want to be on the losing side.
Correct.
So there's no coming together across the aisle, it seems like.
And the sad thing about all this is, when you really look at it, our freedoms that were granted us by the Constitution and have been supported for 250 years are being attacked. They're being erased right in front of us. I mean, in this last couple of years, you can't even go to a college and present on a topic that someone else thinks doesn't apply. They have a dissenting view and they control the platform or the speaker's platform, but you can't be up there.
Sure, I agree. We've
And-
seen that happen many times.
And one of the founding principles that this country was built on was dissenting views and the ability to talk. You can go back in all the congressional meetings and you can look at them arguing and fighting over everything.
Yeah.
Way back in the 1700s, I've watched videos and documentaries on our congressmen and our politicians and how really mean and vicious they got. And I says, well, damn, I feel good now. It's just like today.
Yeah, right.
Except I think today we went to a different level even.
Well, we've gone to a different level because the media is playing such a key role in all of this now. And social media, the mainstream media, the access to that kind of information is immediate. It's never been like that. In the history of our country or the world, for that matter. But
Well, when I was growing up, I didn't know very much about what was happening outside of my county,
right,
let alone the next big cities. And we're in Swartz Creek, but I grew up in Flushing, Michigan, and Detroit. That was a long ways away.
right.
And whatever happened down there, I may never even know about, let alone know about what happened in another state, another world, another country, another territory, who was coming across the border illegally, or whatever. So what has taken place in the last 20 years, certainly, maybe longer, is the transition of 24/7 technology in your face, on your iPhone, on your iPad, every place you turn, it is right there.
Sure.
And you look at it. And I tell you what, if you guys want to watch a great video on Netflix called Social Dilemma, The Social Dilemma, it talks about the programming of the human mind through Facebook, Twitter, through the social platforms, and most of the people that are putting this topic on, the social dilemma, were the key people in the companies like Google, Amazon, Twitter, Facebook, that they have subsequently quit, went on to other careers, and they have taken their kids and taken them off those social platforms
Sure.
because they don't want their children brainwashed.
Well, you indicated that social media and that information's right in your face, but that's because that's where we put it.
I'm not saying it's not our fault.
I struggle with arthritis in my neck and a syndrome they call head forward, primarily because of computers and my cell phone or my iPad, things like that. It's all stuff that we've created for ourselves. And you and I are both in the technology field.
Yes.
So, we probably started that process even before most people in general.
I'm proud and I'm excited about the technology that is available today. I'm really disheartened by the partisan use of the technology, the multi-mega tech companies' use of the technology, how they are driving their issues to maximize their revenue, their pocketbook, and to literally steal and destroy a lot of people out there that do not even realize what is happening to their brain, to their kids, and those issues right there. It's sad when you really get a grip on how bad this is. Now, the social dilemma, there's a sequel to that. I can't really remember what it is right now. It was a follow-up, but both those programs, I would encourage anybody to look at those programs.
Sure.
And it's pretty amazing.
Yep. I haven't seen the second one yet, but I did watch Social Dilemma, and it's an eye-opener.
Oh,
I mean, most of that stuff in the back of your mind you knew, but hoped you were wrong. And
Yeah.
now you realize, yeah, that's true. And you see it more and more every day.
sure you do.
Thing came out about Microsoft being part of a group of people that are going to come out with products that will track your content from start to end and be able to. Their stated goal is that they want to track and monitor and help eliminate disinformation. I'm not sure what that means, but I think it means thoughts that are different from theirs.
Yeah, when you define disinformation, now just think about that for a second. Define disinformation. The first question I would ask if I was a legal beagle someplace, I'd say, from what perspective?
Whose perspective, right?
Whose perspective?
Yeah.
What is disinformation for you, the customer or the audience, might not be disinformation for me. I may have been personally harmed by that information. You might think it's perfectly fine. But to me but to me it's disinformation because it hurt me. I
Well-
followed it or I did something with it and all of a sudden I got screwed someplace along the way.
Sure. Well, yeah, I guess you'd have to start with the definition of disinformation. If it's a lie, then that's clearly disinformation.
Certainly.
If it's an opinion that's different than yours, that's not necessarily disinformation.
A different opinion is not disinformation.
No.
It's really a different opinion is a different interpretation of the same information.
Right.
Now, you know the funny thing about that, you can take that statement right there, a different interpretation of the same information. Now you're going to take that information and what are you going to do with it? You're going to get into what did the words in that information really mean?
Right.
Did they mean it Gazenta, Gazalta, this way, that way? And that is the problem. And this is a field that the word-smithing attorneys find an amazing career path in.
Well,
Definition of language.
yeah, well, that's true. But the people that are that are doing all the wordsmithing now, is most of it's media.
Yes.
Um,
Media that's not qualified to do it. They take a
Depends
position.
upon how you look at it. Some are very qualified to do it. Unfortunately,
Again,
I don't know that it's for all the right reasons.
yeah, it comes back to, is a media person just someone that's repeating what they've seen, saw, read, or are they, quote unquote, a journalist that's supposed to be investigating, evaluating, finding the truth path, and expanding on whether or not that original document of information has any merit to it?
Well, I think your statement about finding the truth. Journalists do that. They do investigate. They find the truth wherever it's hidden and report it.
A true journalist does.
A true journalist. But most of them today are not true journalists. They are commentators that are regurgitating the party line. And I don't mean party as in Republican, Democrat.
No.
I just mean in terms of
What-
their media official opinion.
And it might even get a little bit worse than that. It might get to the point where they're regurgitating what they've been told to say by a line of management that has a different agenda.
Sure.
And since they are receiving a paycheck from that, that's the point. You pony down to that paycheck, so you put your journalism credentials in the back office and put them in the drawer where nobody can see them,
Right.
and say, "I'll write this article this way."
Yeah. Yeah. We've seen that.
Yes,
Um,
seen lots of it,
and
and it happens on both sides of the fence. We're not taking
oh,
sides here.
absolutely.
I'm just telling you right now, it happens on both sides of the fence.
Yeah. It's true. There are people out there that I truly respect as journalists, but that number seems to get fewer and fewer as everybody gets embroiled in this whole, I don't think debate's the right word, but the controversy between mainstream media and people that are trying to be journalists.
Yeah, and there's a whole different mainstream of not just the media people, but the celebrities.
Oh, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, and those people that come up in the ranks and they've got a golden spoon in their mouth, so they think everybody should be this way.
Right.
Or you can talk about a lot of programs on TV and that may or may not follow the party line. The View is one that I have in my head that sometimes.
You agree with them always, right?
No, I have agreed with them. I remember one time in the last 15 years that I did agree with them. I can't remember what the topic was.
Right? Or what
I think it was the fact that the dog they had was yellow, and
yeah.
that was it. Yes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't want to take away from celebrities or athletes because most of them have worked very hard to get where they're at.
Oh, absolutely.
But that doesn't qualify them to create this cancel culture that has been created now, where any opinion that differs from their collective opinion is automatically shut down. I don't agree with that from either side. The perfect example today is the Dr. Seuss books.
Yeah.
I can't.
Those would never stand a chance out there today.
They don't. They just basically said that 6 of them got to go. You
That's
can't
it.
publish these anymore, and they've agreed not to publish them.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first to say, I don't think I've read the 6 that they're discussing, but I will before the next show.
But
Because
there
it
are
takes about 6 seconds to read one of the Dr. Seuss books.
well, they're big words, big letters.
Yeah, exactly. I can do that even without my glasses.
I'll tell you a topic, and we're talking about tonight irritation topics,
We're venting.
venting a little bit, and please, audience, if you feel like we've vented the wrong way, let us know.
Feel free. There's
You
a
got
comment section below.
There's a comment section down there. Jump right on that baby and rip us a new you know what. But I'll tell you, it's almost. I'm just going to tell you. Transgender athletics. Everybody is so interested in someone that identifies as a woman so they can run in the women's sports and beat the living hell out of those women. Okay. Now, I don't know what you think, but I can tell you right now that is just flat wrong. My personal opinion. A woman that has worked years of her life to decide that she wants to perform and excel as an athlete and has put hours of work in performance, and she has to watch I'm a female now and I can run faster than you can, or I can lift more weights than you can, and you have to just take it. That's pathetically sad. And the reason that's pathetically sad is if you compare all the women out there that are doing this and the amount of transgenders that are doing this, you're talking about 1/10 of 1%.
Oh, it's a very small number. I agree.
Yeah, and so we've turned all of our laws over to an extreme minority and said to the rest of the population, eat it and swallow it. I'm sorry, I don't, I won't, I never will. That is a move I will make, and I will tell you right now. So I'm
Tell
kind
us
of
how you really feel.
I can't, because you'd have to take you'd push that
I'd
little
have to
red
push
button
the
you
red
got
button,
right
wouldn't
there.
I? Yeah.
Yes.
I was
yes.
getting ready to anyway.
I know you was. But well, tonight's Irritation Night, and
It is.
and we've been gone from your beautiful audience for a while, and we wanted to rile you up a little bit.
Well, I don't know about riling that. Well, maybe.
Yeah, I
We're
think-
getting riled up, but
Yeah.
there are some good things out there.
Yes, there are.
Texas
Name one.
got rid of all their restrictions,
Oh yes.
including the mask mandate.
Yes.
South Dakota's done that. Florida's done that for the most part.
Did you
So-
see that beautiful new billboard they put up in Indiana?
Don't go there. Don't even go. I'm gonna go to the red button.
Oh, red button time. Oh my God.
But you can say that through all of this, you were taking lunches, client lunches, in Ohio.
Yeah, you know something? Ohio and Indiana, how all the restaurants was open and the business was open, and there was a lot of Michigan people enjoying those restaurants
Right,
and
exactly.
stuff like that. So,
Yep.
um,
Yeah.
but
Interesting. But
it has been interesting.
yeah. But other good things. How hard are you working right now in your business? Crazy busy.
I tell you, I'm swamped. I've been working 7 days a week for the last month.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
We are.
We are building fiber networks as fast as we can build them.
Yeah. And we're the same way here. Crazy busy.
And I'll tell you something that, as strange as it might be, a very positive thing that has come out of COVID that has actually saved businesses thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
I know where you're going with this because it's affected us as well.
Yep. Virtual Zoom meetings. I mean, look how many companies have not had to travel, go to conferences. They have found a way of surviving and growing and expanding irrespective of the COVID restrictions.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
realized that they've saved money and was able to still deliver the product, the message, the relationship, and make it work for all involved.
Right.
Some of them, and I've heard from many, some of them will never go back.
Right. You're right. One of my neighbors, she's not a CFO, but she's one of the financial people for an organization, and she travels all over the globe. I used to see her; she'd be gone for 3 weeks, back for 5, gone for 3, that kind of thing. She hasn't worked outside of her home since this whole pandemic started, and she loves it.
Absolutely.
We've got between Zoom, Teams, WebEx, and I know I'll forget half a dozen more, but it's made a huge difference and probably is a big part of the new norm.
It is a big part of the new norm. I would suspect, I'm in the telecommunications field, and I used to go to 8, 9, 10 major conferences a year, travel all over. I mean, it cost our company $30,000-$40,000, maybe more, to send me around to introduce to the public and stuff like that. And while that is down right now, I still haven't lost contact with hardly maybe 10-15% of them.
Yeah, that's huge. Now,
Yeah.
I have to say, conversely, those conferences were a big part of our marketing effort.
Yes.
And that's fallen off. So we're, in the process. It's hard to make a cold call via Zoom or Teams. So we're
Yes.
in the process now of trying to redefine how we reach out to these people in this new environment.
I'll tell you something that I'm quite proud of. My daughter runs a business called CirrusNet.
Right. Yep.
She, during the COVID time, she has 6 or 7 networking groups, and we figured when COVID hit that it was over.
Yeah.
That lady doubled down and grew her business through the entire process.
Went almost 100% virtual.
That's right. And she's almost 100% virtual, and she's helped her businesses. She teaches networking. She teaches growing your business. She teaches multiple ways of growing your business. And I'm so proud of her because we've set in on some of her training classes,
Sure.
and she's She's done excellent at this.
Yeah. Well, and she's blossoming out beyond some of that stuff. But I give her credit because she has grown her business in a virtual environment. She also recognizes that having a virtual environment is sometimes more advantageous because you don't have travel. The setup in a virtual environment is significantly less.
Yep.
And being able to attract people to a virtual environment. Since I joined one of her groups, I can just slide out of bed and make an 8 o'clock meeting.
Absolutely. Yeah, and she was doing. She's started another one called Crusaders Networking.
Right.
And one of her first clients came from Arizona.
Yeah. Go figure.
She's in Michigan, and she contracted a person through LinkedIn Network in Arizona. And the guy says, well, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And his boss was attending the following week. So the COVID-19 was responsible for this.
Right.
It was a side benefit that I'm not too sure if anybody was behind the COVID-19 stuff or was pushing it or whatever, but they probably didn't expect that.
No, I'd agree. But I don't know that. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't think anybody pushed the COVID-19 thing other than to maybe start it. It kind of developed a life of its own, even if someone did intentionally release it. And I don't know that we'll ever know that for sure. But to varying degrees, people have adapted quite well.
Yes.
And your daughter is certainly one of those people.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of other ones. I fly for the Civil Air Patrol. We haven't had an in-person meeting in 9 months, and I was talking to the commander the other day. He says, I'm not sure I'm going to. He says, this is working perfect.
Right.
We're doing training virtual now. We're doing online stuff. The only time we really get together is when we're doing SAREX missions, search and rescue exercises. And,
Right.
and that's not a big deal. So
Yeah.
we're flying all the time.
The one thing that does bother me, though, we're moving towards golf season. I'm not playing virtual golf. I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to get my clubs out and I'm going to go on the grass and dig up some turf.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, just between us and me and the audience, stuff like that, he's my golf partner.
Uh-oh.
And last year I played with him all year, and there was times when I wished he was playing virtual golf.
Yeah, true. I think there were times where I was.
He would have
wasn't
shot
there.
a lot better score.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
telling you right
goodness.
now. I hit the ball and dragged John. I tell you, I got pretty heavy on the shoulders at the end of the year.
Yes, true. Literally. And I'm being honest here. Towards the end of August, I turned to Gordy and I said, I'm hanging the clubs up. I'm playing so bad. I'm hanging up my clubs for this year.
I swear to God, I think one of his drives, his club went further than the ball. Not saying.
Don't get these people thinking that I throw golf clubs.
No, I won't do that.
Okay, good. Good. That wouldn't be a lie.
No, no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't know if it was a drone or a boomerang, but
Yeah.
it didn't come back,
Yeah,
though.
right, that's the problem. It was self-launching, though.
Yes.
But, so, I don't know if there's anything else that's really
Hot tonight?
but we're probably getting pretty close to our
Witching hour?
allotted time.
Yeah, I think, I thank you folks for joining us tonight. I hope you didn't think we just turned on so we could bitch and holler, but we did. No, we didn't.
We did. We did.
We did.
It's been so long, and
It's
we've been
been-
cooped up.
A lot of stuff inside us, and we just had to get it out. So
Right,
we want you to get it out.
right.
Tap the link down below us, send us an email.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. And I tell you right now, think about being a guest.
Sure.
Bring your topic. Let us know ahead of time. We'll figure out a time. We'll schedule you, and we'll go from there. And we're looking forward to this year, 2021. Blast off this year. Put the 2020 behind you. Pack it up and move it forward. That's what life is all about.
Exactly. And look forward to 2022 when we can regain the House and Senate. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for tonight, and I've enjoyed my time with you.